Hey there, Mama, and welcome back to the Moms Overcoming Overwhelm podcast, episode 36. I'm Emily McDermott, and I'm here beside you on this journey as we work together to declutter your home, head, and heart. In honor of Mother's Day, which in the United States is this Sunday, May 14th, I decided to do something a little different for this episode. Mother's Day can be a holiday associated with great joy, but for many can also be a reminder of pain and sadness. Perhaps like me, you've struggled with infertility or miscarriage. You wanted a baby for so long and didn't know if it would ever happen. Perhaps it still hasn't, or it has, but the road has looked completely different than you thought it would. Or perhaps your relationship with your own mother is complicated, non-existent, or maybe she's passed and Mother's Day is not the same without her. No matter what your situation is, I hope I can encourage you today by sharing 3 things that I have learned during my decluttering and minimalism journey for the last 8+ years that have helped me remember who I am outside of this mundane, exhausting, and yes, beautiful journey of motherhood. So what do you say? Grab that notebook and pen and let's dive into today's episode. Hey there, Mama. Are you tired of all the stuff crowding your home, calendar, and mind? Do you wish you could say goodbye to the endless to-do list running around in your head? Want to declutter but don't know where to start? You're in the right place. Welcome to Moms Overcoming Overwhelm, where you will find proven and practical solutions to declutter your home, head, and heart. Hi, I'm Emily, a wife, boy mom, and simplicity seeker. I struggled to get pregnant and felt overwhelmed until I discovered decluttering could create the physical and emotional space I needed to become a mom. Now, 2 kids later, I've transformed my life in motherhood by developing simple systems around decluttering, capsule wardrobes, kid stuff, cleaning and tidying, meal planning, time management, and more, and I can't wait to share them with you. If you're ready to reclaim the time and energy you crave, be present with your kids, and finally enjoy the life and motherhood you so deserve, let's kick overwhelm to the curb, shall we? Grab your lukewarm coffee, your notebook and pen, and clear up some counter space. Let's do this. Did you catch last week's episode with Lisa Lazat? I have been focusing on my daily resets and it's been so incredibly helpful. She is right, it is truly a gift that you give yourself every day. Even better than flowers or chocolates, am I right? Well, maybe not chocolate. Anyway, next week in my free Facebook group, we are going to do a slightly different type of challenge, a reset challenge. So if you want to learn about my reset practices, as well as how you can get the mindset of reset, make sure to join us at tinyurl.com/moms overcoming overwhelm. Okay, Mama, like I said, this episode is a little bit different than most, but I think it is vitally important. As I have been filling out registration paperwork for kindergarten and also for summer camps for my kiddos, I came across a familiar question on the forums: occupation. Almost 7 years into my stay-at-home mom journey, I still pause when I see this. How do I answer that? Stay-at-home mom? Homemaker? Podcaster? Poet? What am I anyway? I am faced with an uncomfortable truth because maybe it's because I went to college, have my master's degree, and yeah, I'm kind of a perfectionistic overachiever. But for me, it doesn't seem to be good enough to simply put homemaker or stay-at-home mom on the form. Is that all I am, I wonder? Maybe you have felt the same. I can say without a doubt that being a mom is the hardest thing I have ever done, and it continues to be the case. It has challenged me, stretched me, and honestly, even broken me at times. I try to look for the joy in these mundane moments, and honestly, I have a really hard time finding them beneath all the stuff I have to do to keep tiny humans alive, keep my house relatively clean, and not completely lose my mind. Perhaps you've had this just a mom feeling. You've been trying to find your identity and purpose while you're cleaning up crumbs from the kitchen floor and pee off the toilet seat, changing out the laundry, and trying to seem interested in what your kids are doing, playing on the floor, when all you want to do is just take a nap or sit in silence without anyone asking you for anything. What about that for a Mother's Day gift? Am I right? The weight of motherhood, it can be so crushing on its own because of everything we're responsible for. But then we start to look around. Maybe we're at the bus stop. Maybe we're at the park. Maybe we're on Instagram. And it seems that other moms somehow have figured it all out. They obviously don't have the kid melting down in Target, who's only going to be quieted by the promise of a toy, candy, or screen time. They don't go to bed regretting what they said to their child and praying tomorrow will be better. They have the kids that eat what you made for dinner, say please and thank you, and never hit their siblings, right? Yeah, right. It's really hard to remember that we aren't alone. It's hard to think that we are more than just our roles and responsibilities, but I'm here to remind you today, Mama, you are not alone, and you are more than what you do or how, quote unquote, well you do it. What I have found out over the past 8 years is that decluttering my home, head, and heart has helped me more easily connect with the truth that I am more than the mundane parts of motherhood. I have a calling, I have a purpose, which of course includes shepherding my children and my home, but extends far beyond that as well. So let's dive into these 3 ways that decluttering reminds you of who you truly are. Number 1, as we talked about way back in episode 3, all our decluttering decisions must be made from an understanding of what truly matters to us. We have to have an understanding of our personal values, our family values, and what we really want our lives to look like. And as we slowly strip away the excess, start saying no to the things that aren't serving us, and remind ourselves constantly of what truly matters, we are able to live in alignment with that truth. We're able to make physical space in our home, space in our calendar, and space in our minds so that we can focus on what fulfills us and makes us happy. When our lives are cluttered, we are reactive. Everything is important, everything is urgent, and meanwhile, the things that actually matter to us are pushed to the side and create literal or metaphorical piles. Decluttering allows us to breathe, to plan, to take a look at how we're spending our time and decide what needs to change. It allows us to rediscover ourselves at a deeper level because we aren't in survival mode anymore. Okay, so the second way that decluttering reminds us of who we truly are outside of motherhood is that we are able to declutter the aspirational aspects of ourselves and finally accept who we are now in this season of motherhood. We spoke about aspirational clutter in episode 10, when we're holding on to things that make us feel bad about ourselves because they represent what we used to be, what we were used to be able to do or wear prior to being a mom. We are filled with regret or even sometimes resentment. But when we release those things or activities that don't serve who we are right now, it helps us to remember what actually matters to us right now. We can give ourselves grace for not fitting into those pre-baby jeans. We can give ourselves grace for letting go of those crafting items that someone else can use because we just don't have the capacity right now. We can surround ourselves with the things and activities that empower and support us instead of those that bring us down. Letting go of your aspirational self doesn't mean that you are giving up on being a better version of yourself. It's giving yourself the space and the grace to figure out who that person is, and then be able to have the focus and energy to pursue it with the capacity that you have right now. Okay, here's number 3. As overwhelmed moms, we always feel like there's never enough time to do what we want to do or energy to do it. And as we remember from episode 8, a cluttered home steals our time, drains our energy, and impacts our health. But as we start, little by little, to declutter our homes and feel lighter, we recognize something that I will keep repeating over and over to myself and to you. We are worth more than anything that we own. When we start flexing our decision-making muscles and start decluttering what we don't need, we loosen our attachment to stuff. We realize it's literally just stuff. And yes, stuff is helpful and it can make life easier, but for the most part, it is blocking us from our full potential. If you feel like a full-time stuff manager, or just a mom, or someone who is spending her entire life cleaning up after others instead of pursuing her own dreams, I'm here to remind you and to empower you to reclaim the life that you want. No one else is going to do it for you. No one else is going to say, you know what, Emily? I think you deserve your life back. Let me remove everything that is blocking you from your fullest potential. I can certainly encourage you. I can even coach you. But at the end of the day, your kids, your husband, even your friends aren't going to do what you need to do, which is to recognize what stuff is and what it isn't, and reclaim your full, purposeful, beautiful life that you so deserve. So to recap, it's normal to feel like just a mom sometimes. Decluttering helps us remember who we are by reminding us of what truly matters to us, allowing us to embrace who we are in this season of life and motherhood and not an aspirational self, and reminds us that we are worth far more than anything we own as we loosen our attachment to stuff. Before we end, I want to share a poem I wrote 3 years ago at Mother's Day. It's called Just a Mom, and it speaks to what we've covered today. I hope you enjoy it. I'm just a mom, I say. I'm just a mom who spends her days making snacks, cleaning crumbs, wiping faces, noses, bums, and tear-stained cheeks still wet. It never ends. And yet, I'm just a mom, you see. Shouldn't that be enough for me? Some days it just doesn't seem that I am worthy of a dream, besides the one that's been fulfilled to be a mom. And still. Lights turned out, foreheads kissed, quiet settles like a mist, a longing rises from the deep, as I lay me down to sleep. Quietly knocking on my door, it whispers, "You are more." I wake up with eyes still bleary, body tired, spirit weary. The day starts and I strain to hear the whispering voice that was so clear, telling me I'll be me again. That may be true, but when? It's funny how the days will pass. The hours drag on, the weeks fly past. I try to, but I can't recall the details of when they were small. Someday they'll let go of my hand, but now I understand that my life may seem ordinary, with heavy burdens to be carried, but in times of joy as well as pain, there's a sacredness in the mundane. It's a truth I deeply know when I slow down and let go of the weight of others' expectations, shoulds, and guilt and obligation, feeling less than, always comparing my life to what everyone else is sharing. Above all, I know I must let go of the word just. I am a mom and friend and wife. I choose to show up in my life. I use the gifts from my Creator because I was meant for something greater. I'm clear on my direction and embrace my imperfections. I am a mom, I say. I am a mom who spends her days grateful for what I know I'll miss. One more story, one more kiss. The love and grace that I receive is the legacy that I leave. I hope this episode blessed you, and if so, please feel free to share it with a friend and join my free Facebook group at tinyurl.com/moms overcoming overwhelm. So next week, we're going to be talking to twin mom and podcaster Julie Redman about how we can be purposeful in our days instead of feeling like a victim to our circumstances. I'll see you next week. Bye for now. If you like today's podcast, here's what you can do. Just take 30 seconds to leave me a review. I know you're a busy mama. You're overwhelmed, in fact, but 30 seconds of your day makes such an impact. I'll be blessed by your words. They'll definitely make my day. And who knows, you might be entered for this month's giveaway. In Apple Podcasts, scroll down to write a review. Thanks so much for your time. I'm so grateful for you.